Hi, and welcome to Late Night Talks with Maggie. So, today I wanted to talk a little bit more about CAMS, Christian Alpha Male Syndrome. Now, this is something that I recently introduced based on my research, and therefore it stands to still be researched. Is that there is a common phenomenon that happens with Christian proclaimed men that take the Bible and twist the words of religious aspects of Christianity to use in a domineering effect over women. Now, usually when this appears, more than likely, this will come about from a woman discovering a man in a religious setting, preferably a Christian religious setting. And what happens is it seems as if you were sent a partner from God. It seems as if God has ordained a union because you are equally yoked based on the fact that you believe in the Bible, you believe in Jesus Christ, you believe your connections come together to share the same beliefs. Now, in my experience and also in my research, there are men that use this knowledge of Christianity to their advantage to overpower and overwhelm women, creating negative situations. Now, basically, what I've researched is that throughout the Bible, there are many instances where men are considered to be leaders and they are considered to be the head of the house. They are considered to be the say all, end all, if you will. But in my research further, I've discovered that even in the walk with Jesus Christ, there is always the bend to a woman. There is always the humility towards a woman. Whenever actions are taken to decide a woman's fate in regards to how Jesus handled women, it was more delicate than the way he handled men. A lot of men that suffer from Christian alpha syndrome do not see the delicate nature of Christ. Much rather, they see women as children that need to be disciplined and taught how to be women. This is in part the reason why I feel as if the shift that we experience now in this era with women acting as men and men acting as women, I feel comes from a set of trying to show the other gender how you should behave, which is where the sense of confusion comes in. Let's go back to explaining more about CAMS, Christian Alpha Male Syndrome. A lot of these men take the initiative of feeling as though their wife must be taught to be a certain way. Now, let's envision you as a woman grew up in a family home that was raised to be a Christian woman. And you already have the ideals and morals of a Christian woman. You grow up and step into the world and realize that there are certain aspects where you yourself have to step out of your Christian identity in order to progress within the world. And this is not saying that you become a part of the world. It's just saying that certain things, certain battles you fight, and certain battles you leave to God. As a woman, you have an understanding of this. Now, when it comes to men being able to handle the diversity and change of women in this nature, they tend to resort to violence to keep women in line. Now, the Bible clearly states that a man should love his wife as Christ loved the church, in which Christ died for that church. In the Bible, it never mentions women loving their husbands, but it does mention that there should be respect. And as we've learned from we were young, whether we were disrespectful as children or respectful, we understand from dealing with our parents that respect is something that is not given unless it is earned. Now, with Christian male syndrome, and this is not pertaining to all Christian males, Christian male syndrome falls down to the fact where you will have men that petitions to want a traditional woman, but realize that we are not in a traditional age. So requesting a traditional woman means that you will have to be in contract with a woman to do certain traditional things that would have been done in the past. If you are not in contract with a woman to do things that were done traditionally, expect a different woman. Expect a more modern woman. This woman in turn is going to have to present herself in a worldly way in order to excel in the world. Now, when people talk about the world, they always think about something vulgar. They think about something sexual. They think about something that is of sin. But let's be honest. Anything that is not cycled around the Christian church or Christian belief is considered of the world. And as it stands right now, there are so many other religious beliefs that one cannot say that the Christian belief is the only belief. So, based on that knowledge, women that take on different beliefs and different avenues, different mindsets and different viewpoints tend to challenge different aspects of what it is to be a woman based on history. Mind you, the Bible does say that a woman goes out, works, finds her ways to compensate to the house, and ensures that her family is well taken care of no matter what the season. So really, the more modern woman is still the traditional woman that men seek, according to the Bible. But here's why the CAMS comes in, because men tend to look at one aspect of what a woman should be and not understand that there's another aspect that is completely acceptable by God. At the end of the day, religion does not determine your outcome, because religion will not save you. At the end of the day, it's your relationship with God that will save you. And if your relationship with God is hindered by your partner in any way, shape, or form, then you are not, in fact, equally yoked. See, we have an understanding within ourselves that there is a higher power out there that is directing our paths and showing us how to go, but we still have free will. Free will is something that many Christian males tend to try to control. And when I say Christian males, I'm referring to the men in the CAMS avenue, meaning the Christian alpha male syndrome. When you have a man that does not understand your personal journey with Christ, he will always create conflict. He will always create um, distance between you and God. He will always create confusion. And when this happens, and don't get me wrong, because religion is a guide to getting closer to God. But when this happens, if you are not well versed within whatever religion it is that you study to get closer to God, you falter and become weaker in the process and lose yourself. And they call this a lesson. The lesson is that you have to now figure out what works, what doesn't work, and you become a saint. Because the saint falls several times, but you as a woman must learn to get up. That being said, CAMS is not only affected by men. Women can also be affected by CAMS, because you do have women that take on masculine alpha roles. And this is to say that where the confusion expands even further, because more than likely women that take on this role have been neglected by a male counterpart. They've either been abused by a male counterpart, or they've been exploited by a male counterpart. So therefore, they've took on the mindset of, well, if I want something done right, I will do it myself. And there is nothing wrong with that, because there are many instances in the Bible where God has specifically used women to win wars, to teach lessons, and also to advance his plans. So at the end of the day, when it comes to passing judgment, which a lot of us tend to do, we are very wrong, because we don't see what God sees. God is not like man, and therefore to control or try to convince others of what God's will is for them, or to deter them from their journey, tends to go against God's plan, because it's already been mapped out, it's already been agreed, the contract has already been set, it's already been manifested. There is nothing new that you bring to the table that God has not already designed. And if that is the case, you sitting there looking for your will to be done is something that will fall flat in the front of the ears of God. So men and women, which I feel women would be the minority of this situation, basically because there is a humility to women that has been taught even without the notice of men. Women tend to learn through experience, men tend to create the experience. So if you see that you are in the position where you are manipulating someone's will in a negative way, that is not the plan of God, that's your plan. And when we step out of God's plans is when things start to go haywire in our lives. So as a studying psychologist, I would like to take note of CAMS, Christian Alpha Male Syndrome. And I would like for you to be able to give me your feedback on things that you've experienced and help me understand how this syndrome has affected you or a loved one, and how we can together create a better response for all of us to coexist in one nation, one religion, and one advancement. Good night.